goes. Well, let me look at the doc here. Okay, so I got a couple things in here that we're going to talk about. Number one, we're going to talk about Songs of Conquest at some point. Also, I want to show this behemoth for like 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to start with this behemoth for 5 minutes because my guess is you're going to want to spend more than 5 minutes on Songs of Conquest. That's my guess.
Probably.
Yep. So there you go. This is the Steam Deck. I got there were 3 like packages. I got the middle one. I forgot the storage space on it. I don't remember. But this thing, like, this is not doing justice to how big this is and how heavy it is. This is also the heaviest handheld console I've ever held in my life. But the carrying case looks nice.
Yes, it does.
So let me just open it up and show you it really quickly. Because I know you've been waiting for this. Like, you've been trying to study and all you can think of is, man, I just want to see Auto Steam Deck. But you think the console's smaller than the case? Allow me to just blow your mind. This is it. I'm putting it up to the camera. This is it. This thing's huge. This thing is massive. Like, this is a water bottle. Maybe like, I don't know, 24 some ounce water bottle. I really don't know. This thing puts this to shame.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
It puts it to shame. Like, I don't have the Switch with me, but it's like this thing is as long as my Series S. The Series S is it's like a small console, but like it's a console. This thing is as big as the Series S. It's a monster. So you gotta hold this thing like this, and like your hands are so spread apart. But
that thing, like, if you have small hands, I have a feeling that thing is not going to be comfortable at all.
It's like, it's okay. I haven't, like, actually for me, the Switch is one of the most uncomfortable consoles to play handheld. For me, at least. If somebody else has a different opinion, that's fine.
I don't think it's great. I don't think it's great, but it's like, the Switch is doable for me. I don't love it, but it's doable.
The Switch is like, yeah, I guess it's doable, but I don't like it for long periods of time. So here it is. I just booted it up. I don't think there's any information on there that I'm not unwilling to hide. I'm not sure how well the screen comes through on the camera. Not particularly well, but like, basically it's just it initially starts out with just showing, you know, your Steam library and like a Steam client, but you can go to a desktop. Okay? And I don't know the exact battery life of this thing, but I think like maybe on like a game like Coromon, which is the only one I have installed right now, it's probably like 4 hours.
Yeah, most of what I heard was like 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Not very good.
Yeah. So I've played Coromon on this thing. And again, unfortunately, the camera's not going to do it justice. This LCD screen is probably the nicest handheld LCD screen I have ever seen. I know it doesn't do it justice on the camera because, you know, garbage. But this thing is really nice. It's very clean. And like the game, like, this is Coromon. Coromon's a supported game on this. It plays extremely well on it. I haven't played like a higher fidelity game or something that would require a bit more like action, is what I will say. But this thing looks really good, and I've capped it right now to 60 frames per second. But like, yeah, there's a couple games supported on this thing, so I'm just gonna try and go through the actual supported games really fast. But basically, there's like lists of games on here where we can filter, and there's like verified and playable and verified that will naturally work with like the built-in controls and display. So I have 86 games and about 17 of them are verified. And to be perfectly honest, none of the ones that I currently have verified are going to be like particularly great on this thing or like look really nice. But fortunately on the store, which is a nice little thing that they added, which I'm glad they added, every game on the store when you hover over it, I can't show it because the camera sucks. Will show if it's verified to work on the system. So Tales of Arise is verified to work on this system.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I had Tales of Arise on Steam, I could play it on this. I'm not saying I would, but
you could.
It's supported, which is really interesting. So yeah, like Tales of Arise is supported. It's currently 50% off, this version of it at least. There's like a couple others I wanted to highlight that are supported. Apex Legends is supported on this. Horizon Zero Dawn is supported on this, which I feel like would be an interesting game to play. Elden Ring is supported on this. You can play Elden Ring on this thing. So there's like a decent catalog of games that have support on the system. Even like some older titles have gotten some good support. I'm very curious to try and dive into something that has a better graphical fidelity, but there's some cool stuff supported on this. I was particularly interested in the fact that like Tales of Arise was supported on it, and Horizon Zero Dawn was supported on it. So my first impression is this thing is very cool. It's got some cool games like supported on it. Now I didn't look if Halo was supported on it, but like Shadow of War, Middle-earth Shadow of War is supported on this thing. For perspective, like I'm like at some point I want to comb through this and find like a pretty like seriously intensive game and try it. But this system is very cool. It's really clean to me. I have run into some issues though. So like right now I'm running into an issue. I can't actually move up and down from this like tab that I just created. There's clearly still bugs in this system, and now it's frozen. Now my system froze. So good stuff. Oh no, now I got it. Did I get it? No. Oh, now I can only use the touchscreen. Okay, so we're gonna shut it down. So my review is it's great, but I found bugs already, which kind of sucks. So I'll have more to say next week. But so far, it's a very cool system. It's enormous, and I hope they fix the bugs, because I've found several while playing it, and I've played it for like 2 days.
Yep.
I mean, like, I don't even want to call this a beta release of the system, because like they shipped a lot of these, I'm sure. But like, I understand that these new things are going to have bugs. I understand that like this new system will have problems, but like I just had it freeze within about 5 minutes of using it, talking to you. And that's frustrating to me. Yeah, that I have to shut the system down. I also had a frame rate issue occur during Cormon. So my thought is it's a very cool system. I can't wait to try like a higher fidelity game and see how it runs. That being said, like to me, it's buggy. This thing still needs to get some updates to really be like Nintendo Switch is not that buggy of a system to me. Like it has poor graphical fidelity, but it's not like a buggy system. So anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say. So okay, Songs of Conquest.
Yep.
You've played more than I have. You got to lead this. I've played 2 missions.
Yeah,
I haven't done much.
I've completed the Stoutheart campaign, and I played 1 mission in the other campaign.
How many missions was the Stoutheart campaign?
4.
Oh, really? I guess I'm not that surprised. It's early access.
Yeah,
but
there's 2 4-mission campaigns.
Interesting. Okay.
And then the skirmish mode. There's not a lot of content in the game right now. It's really not.
No. I was caught off guard for a second, but remembered it's early access. So, okay, 4 missions in both.
Missions 3 and especially 4 are pretty lengthy, at least for me.
Okay.
Like the campaign, like in total, probably. Though I did fail mission 4 once. But that was before they updated it and made it easier.
Oh, okay.
I would say the campaign took me like 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
To finish.
Well, there's more than one of them, so I think that's fair. For early access in
Um,
particular, I think that's fair.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Songs of Conquest is another kind of it's an indie early early access game. It came into early access about 2 weeks ago. And it is, and I haven't played these games, but from what people are saying, it is a modern take or a new take on the old Heroes of Might and Magic games, which are old school strategy games.
Yep.
It's a turn-based strategy game where you control a hero on the field. The hero can be upgraded and can have units be attached to them as their army, and
Yep.
then you have like a base and like towns that you can occupy and construct buildings and
troops
such like
and
that.
things like that. Do research.
Troops and get research and get resource income, stuff like that. So it's a turn-based strategy game. It has base building elements and combat, and I think it's a cool game. It uses a pixel art style that looks it looks nice. I think it looks good. It's definitely a style. Some people might not like it, but I think it looks good. As I said, there are 2 4-mission campaigns, and there's 4 playable factions within the skirmish mode. And there's, I want to say, like 10 to 15 maps to play on in the skirmish mode.
Can I ask a question before you continue? Yeah. Are the frog people a playable race?
Yes.
They are. You're not kidding.
Yeah.
You can play as the frogs.
Well, the second campaign is the frog.
Oh, I'm immediately stopping the first campaign then. I don't care anymore. I want to play as the frogs. I literally don't care anymore about the frogs.
They are the swamp. Rana are the swamp dwellers. They have a bunch of amphibian creatures, frogs, and they have insects like centipedes. They have spiders, and then at the end they have dragons. So
I'm just gonna use the frogs.
Okay.
That sounds great. Sounds amazing to be able to play as the frog people. The hardest moment of the entire thing was defeating the frogs. So that was tough. But continue.
Yeah, I mean, what I just went over is kind of the basics of the game.
Yep.
I guess the 4 factions. There's Arleon, which is the faction for the first campaign. And they're kind of your typical like human knight faction.
Yep.
In the later tiers, they have access to like Fey type units. You have these like Fey sprites and these Fey queens and these
queens.
And there's one other unit type, which are these big, like, what are they called? Horned ones, I think. They're these big, like, bulky club wielding Fey dudes.
Okay. Thinking Minotaur or something like that.
So yeah, I mean each faction basically has 2 like quote unquote races that they like pull from. So Arleon is humans and Fey.
Yep.
You have Loth, which is the undead faction. It's undead and humans. So there's a part of it that's humans and then the undead on the other half.
Cool.
You have Rana, which are the swamp people, which are like, I forget what they call, like there's like the frog people and then there's like the dragons, I guess, I think, or the 2. I'm not exactly sure.
Last one?
And then you have Baria is the 4th, which they're like desert dwelling like mercenaries, I guess. I think it's kind of their backstory. And you have humans, and then you have I don't remember what the other like race is called in that. They're like, I don't know, weird like desert people or something. I'm not sure.
Okay. People from the there are people that reside in the desert and creatures or something. Some creature.
Yeah. They also have some like mechanical.
Okay, so there's some
Like
robots.
their top tier unit is like a fucking cannon. Like it's just a giant fucking siege.
It's
cannon.
just literally a cannon. I saw that some of them had like guns, so that's the faction with guns, right? They're probably more of the tech faction.
They have the musketeers as well. Yeah. That's Barria.
That's a higher tech faction then.
Yeah.
With guns. Okay. Sounds good. But yeah, I mean, like, I've only done 2 missions. I mean, you've seen me play some of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the game is relatively straightforward to understand and play.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only challenge is just like figuring out the best options to input to make things like easier. Some of them I feel like should just be on by default. Like the movement range one, like I don't understand why that's not on by default, but that's
there's
fine.
a couple of options in the options menu where I agree. I'm like, why is this just not on by default?
But,
like the show wielder movement range, I'm like, okay, this should just be on.
Like I didn't even know that was a thing until you told me. Alt to see everything. Like, okay, really wish I'd known that before, but you told me, so
yeah.
I think that combat, when you actually get into combat, I do have some confusion regarding normal range and deadly range. So there's 2 different ranges that you see with some of your like archers, for example.
Pretty much all ranged units have
normal
and deadly range.
So there's like one range indicator, and then there's one with dotted lines. Which one's deadly range by comparison to the other range?
Deadly range is always closer.
Okay, that's what I thought, but like I just got confused a little bit. I was like, oh, is the deadly range longer? Because it's a shorter, like it's a shorter section, so it'd be kind of interesting. It's like, okay, you gotta set it up where like you're in the deadly range. So it's like a very specific window, but that makes sense that if you're closer, you're doing more damage. It makes sense. It's like makes sense just thinking about it from a game
closer
sense.
Closer is more damage. It's like if you're with a range, I guess like from a quote unquote realism standpoint, if you're further away, the shot is going to be less accurate, and like the units on the map represent like a regiment of units, like it's a stack. So if you're shooting a volley of arrows at like a group of units, if you're further away, you are less likely to hit, so you do less damage from further away.
That's the logic, and I think that that's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to get that clarified. But like the game itself, I think like when you get into the battles, it's pretty it's pretty interesting. The battles that I've participated in have been relatively short, which I like actually, because if those battles were long, oh man, those missions would be way too long for me. I think the missions are like a pretty good length for me right now. Like the second one I think took me like an hour and 15 minutes, which I thought was a pretty good length for that mission. And it was mostly just because I explored everywhere. Like you don't have to explore everywhere, but I think when you explore everywhere, that's where a lot of the time comes in. I think I like there were certain things that I glossed over, and then when you told me, I was like, oh, you can use a rally point to do this, and I was like, for me, like the rally point, I thought of the rally point as being like an RTS rally point where it's like, oh, your troops will just go here, but when you build troops, your hero, your wielder, has to go there to pick them up. They don't move by themselves. You pick them up. So you're basically picking up these characters in your bag. So the rally point is a way for you to pick them up from a different town, from one town to another, but your hero has to go there anyway. So that was a little bit confusing to me at first, because like, oh, are the characters just gonna like walk to my wielder? No, that's not how the game works.
No,
So it's fine. I just didn't know that. So I was like, oh, that's how it works.
Yeah. You have to.
So there's some learning.
You can't recruit units without a hero. Like you have to have a hero that's supporting the army, basically.
Right.
Wielder has to be at the town to recruit new units.
Sure. It was like a little bit of a learning curve. but nothing was so
there's
complicated where I didn't understand it all.
yeah, there's definitely a learning curve with the way the mechanics work in this game. Like the way units are recruited is like when you build a military building, it basically starts once the military building is constructed, it starts generating units into a pool. Most of them are you get two per turn of units that fall into the pool, and then when you bring your wielder, you can spend money to actually recruit those units to your army from the pool.
Right. Right. So, yeah, I don't think anything was particularly difficult to understand in the game, though. Like things once you started playing it and like getting into it, some things like had to be kind of like shown to me, so to speak. But other than that, like combat was pretty like good. I think the art style, like the pixel art style, I think it's fine for me at least. Yeah, I don't. The game was like definitely fun for me. Do I think it was like amazing? It was like, yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. For me at least. I liked exploring though. I think the exploring was pretty cool. To just like go around and explore stuff. That was pretty well done. And getting rewarded for like going around and like trying to check the other corner, like checking the corners and things like that to get the extra loot was good. So, I don't know. I don't really have much else to say, to be honest. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm glad that you mentioned it before, and I'm glad that I tried it a little bit. I'm definitely gonna do more of it. I might even try a skirmish at some point. But the game is really like I do enjoy it. It's not my favorite game or anything like that, but I enjoy it a lot. So, yeah, Spoon.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not my favorite game either, but I thought it was sort of a new and different take on this turn-based strategy genre. The mechanics are just a little bit different. It has, I wouldn't call it a 4X, but it has sort of like the base building and like resource management of those games as well, which I enjoy. Yeah, the map exploration with your wielders is sort of a big different part of this game where it's really important that you take your wielders and you walk around the map and you collect all the goodies that are there and you capture the resource generating places like gold mines, and because like that's very important for getting your economy going. And yeah, I mean I think the game's cool. I think it's worth trying. It's, there's not a ton of content in it right now, but early access, it's only $30. They've been releasing they've released a few, like 2 or 3 patches already in the past couple of weeks. Nothing major. They're all just like fixes. Like, for example, as I said, they reduced the difficulty of apparently missions 3 and 4 in the first campaign. I was able to do the third one fine, but I played the fourth one once before they did the update, and I got run over. It was just like, there hard. Was like basically, the enemy just came with like 3 or 4 different wielders at me, and one of them had so much magic, like literally I didn't get to do anything. Like the battle started and he basically destroyed my entire army within a couple of turns with like just magic. Like I basically wasn't allowed to play. It was just like battle start. He got a turn. He like turn 1. He dropped like a bunch of like the top level magic spells on my army, and it's like, okay, good, you're dead. All right.
Yeah, good. I do want to say that I don't think magic should impact the first turn like that. That seems a bit frustrating. Like even when I was playing, I think like your character banks up some like magic at some point, and like there were definitely like in the final battle of mission 2, well, not necessarily the final one, but like, you know, the last major one. I feel like I used like multiple spells within a turn, and it was really like, I was like, oh, this is interesting that like I'm just throwing spells out immediately turn 1 and more than one. It's a bit interesting. Like it can definitely make you feel like, okay, well, I didn't go first, so I get this volley of spells that I can't interact with. So like, what am I supposed to do? Like I think that's a point of frustration from my perspective, at least. That sounds like like, to me, that would be frustrating to be like, oh, well, I didn't go first, so now I just have to take this like blast of magic.
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't played enough to really say, but like, just from that scenario that I described, magic-based wielders, and if you stack magic really hard, seems like it could be kind of OP in this game, whereas like, you don't really even need your army to fight them, or you damage their units so much with magic that like, your units just go in and clean up, basically, and like, they don't really have to do much.
Right.
So...
that to me is frustrating.
Yeah, it's completely, you can't do anything about it either. Like, it's completely uninteractive. Like if you just like start the battle and the enemy drops like fireball chain lightning on you, or arcane burst, or whatever it's called, and he kills a bunch of your army without you really being able to do anything, it's a little bit silly.
Yeah, no,
it's
it's ridiculous. It's like, okay, well, what tactics was I supposed to do? Like, what was I supposed to do differently? And there's really nothing. You can't really do anything to counter that. There's no like counter spell, is there? So
yeah, the only thing that there are certain items, and there's also a skill which can give you spell resistance, but skills are pretty random whether you get them or not.
Mm-hmm.
And same with the items on the map, like there may or may not be that there.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm like, okay, I'm playing a tactics game, and the stuff that I have no agency in is kicking my ass. Like, what am I supposed to do here? That would frustrate me for sure, but haven't come across it yet.
Yeah, because there are some wielders that are focused on spell casting, like they get skills that like increase the amount of magic generation you can get, or they increase spell damage, or whatever it may be. So and yeah, I think like in that mission, that wielder like came at me, and I think he was stacked out with like magic buffing artifacts and all this like magic buffing stuff, and again, the battle started and he like basically wiped out my whole army without me being able to do anything.
Yeah, which is just like, well, at that point it's like, that's not tactics anymore. That's that's like in what people complained about in games like a game like Hearthstone, where it's like, okay, well, I'm just kind of sitting here and I can't interact with them at all. There's this deck in Hearthstone right now. I've seen streams of it in particular, and it's like, it's just called Spell Hunter. Okay, so all the person does is he just has a shitload of spells in his deck, and so you as the player on the other side, you're trying to play like the Hearthstone, like these creatures and maybe some spells. This person doesn't play like really any creatures. He just plays spells. But the thing is, on turn 1, they play a quest where if they deal damage with a spell, this quest gets better, gets like progress. And at the very end, what happens is every time they cast a spell, it's a hunter. So their hero power is free, and it recharges with every spell you use. So what ends up happening is you could be at 30 health and you could lose 20 some odd health because they had like 5 spells in their hand, and they all cost they're very low cost, like 1 to 2 mana, and every time they do it, that hero power refreshes.
Hero power,
and it's free. So you're getting barraged with spells. You can't do anything about it because it's Hearthstone. And then they just kill you when you're at like 20 some health. There's no way to interact with it. To me, like when you have stuff like that, particularly in this kind of game where it's a tactics game and you're trying to move your armies around in such a way where like you're trying to outmaneuver or out like smart the opponent. The opponent doesn't have to outsmart you if they just cast Fireball or something like that multiple times, because the hero isn't on the board. The hero sits back there and is slinging that. Yeah. So you can't. It's not like you can kill the hero and it stops. You just have to sit there and go and just like go, okay, well this was fun. Next.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite moment from those Hearthstone streams too, where the streamer goes, okay, well that was fun. I'm glad I got to play. Next. Mm-hmm. And that, by the way, was a predominantly played deck. It was a high enough percentage where like if you played 5 games, you were likely to play that at least once or twice. Amongst all other like potential Hearthstone cancer decks that exist. So that's just not fun. Like in card games, it's not fun. In tactics games, that would be even worse for me because I'm like, well, what was I supposed to do? What strategy was I supposed to implement besides like trying to flank the other person or like outmaneuver or maybe like tactically like go for specific units? You can't do that. There's no counter spell, so you're just like, okay, well, that was fun. I'm glad that I got to do something against this uninteractive like mechanic. So I'm not a huge fan of like being able to blast multiple spells in a round. If that's the case, maybe like set some limitations for that, because that seems like really frustrating.
Or have countermeasures, like maybe a spell that like I don't know about a counter spell, but like a spell that like reduces spell damage or something like that. Like
it's like you get your team this round gets like a 25 or whatever percentage reduction in spell damage or magic damage. Like, and they just you can use that. There's like defensive buffs. Why can't we have that as a buff?
Yeah.
Just throw that as one. I don't know. That seems like a potential pitfall. But I don't know how many times that would happen. But if it's an OP move, like if you're trying to play multiplayer, like why would people not do that? What would be the reason not to pick that kind of style? Of just being like, haha, I don't have any units, but guess what? I have magic, so. But you'd have to bank magic for that too. You'd have to bank a bit for that. So I guess if you like fought that person right away without them having banked anything, it would go badly, but I don't know. That seems like a problem, but maybe it's not as big of a deal.
It's a potential problem. Again, they reduced the difficulty of the mission, and when I played it through the second time, like that wielder still existed, but I think the magic, like it was still there, and they still did some damage to me with their magic, but it wasn't as oppressive, and also their army wasn't as scary either. Yeah. So I like had it after I got barraged with magic, I had enough left that I could still win the battle. So,
yeah.
Like,
I only think of that if like there's a multiplayer factor to this game.
Sure.
In multiplayer, that's where it becomes a problem. In campaign, like you can just like you can reduce certain things, but in multiplayer, like if everybody figures out, well, magic is really strong, people are just gonna play magic.
The best way.
They're just gonna do that. So I don't know, but maybe multiplayer wouldn't be like a super popular thing, but I don't know. I think multiplayer in this game would be semi-interesting.
Multiplayer is actually like they have a site that's like a suggestion board basically for people to post on, and updates. The most popular one, or the one with the most upvotes at least, is a simultaneous turns mode in multiplayer.
Simultaneous turns, so people are just walking around, like both players take their turn at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas now it's like Civ, where Civ is simultaneous. Sorry.
Civ,
what's a good example?
Civ, I think there's an option for either. You can play sequential turns or simultaneous turns. I think usually in multiplayer you would play simultaneous turns,
Yeah,
but
but in this you're not. You're just playing like turn.
yeah, right now there's only like sequential turns.
Yeah.
Not simultaneous turns does not exist.
But that's the most
Um,
upvoted is simultaneous.
yeah.
That's interesting. It would
So
be an
yeah,
interesting thing to have in there.
apparently, at least for people playing this game, multiplayer is a highly requested feature or better multiplayer exists in the game right now, but
But people want that
you know,
one.
people want that. Another one that is very high on the list is random map generator. That one I want.
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
one would be great. That one would be great. Yeah, both of those. I mean, like, if multiplayer is really popular, that's high priority right there. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I would like to try. Is it 1v1 or is it like, can you play against the AI 2v2 kind of thing, or how does it work? To your knowledge.
I mean, I'm sure with multiplayer, there is a co-op mode in the games. You can play co-op or teams if you want, but they're calling it an experimental feature because they said they just didn't have a lot of time to test it yet. So like the functionality is there, but it's probably not great. Like
Okay.
you can play on the same team, but there's certain things that like you might be able to want to do in co-op, like exchange resources
But you
or
can't do that.
like trade, but you can't do that.
That's-
So you can. The
Yeah.
only thing you can do is like play on the same team, and I think you share vision. I think that's about it.
I'm okay with
So-
that for now. I would be okay with that for now. I mean, sharing resources would obviously be great, but
Yeah,
I'm okay with
So,
that
like,
for now.
that's the implementation of co-op right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, multiplayer. Otherwise, there's. I'm sure you could play on any of the maps that exist right now. I think there's like anywhere between 1 and 6. I think there might be a 6-player map too, so you could play.
Oh shit.
Could
6
play
players.
1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if there's a 5-player map, but you could probably play 1 through
1 through
2,
6.
3, 4, or 6 players.
There you go. Epic. Well, at some point I'd love to try some, at least like skirmish against the AI, just to like experience it. But yeah, the game is fun. There's no doubt about it. It's a fun game. I'm glad that I'm trying it and you sort of mentioned it to me. It's definitely fun.
Yeah.
Very nice little game. So for $30 early access, it's like, if you have any interest in any of like either the genre or anything we're saying, like it's a bargain for 30 right now for me, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, there's multiplayer, there's skirmish value. You can just play it. So I don't know.
And the
go ahead.
devs seem like they've been working on this game for 5 years, apparently.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And
is the team small? Is it like a really small team?
It's small. If you look at the credits, it looks like it's pretty big, but when I heard initially, what I heard initially is it was like mainly 4 dudes who were making the game.
Oh Jesus.
So,
well, they're contracting work to other people, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
4 main like in-house people. 5 years. Wow.
So yeah, they're working on it. As I said, they released like 3 patches already, and I think they're gonna continue to update it, work on those features that people are suggesting. They said they're working on a roadmap for what they're gonna release, but they didn't put one out initially because they wanted to see what the community wanted. Like they wanted to put the game out and see like, okay, what are the things we should prioritize for the thing. And right now it's looking like simultaneous turns in multiplayer, random map generator. There was a request for more factions, which I would like to see, but they said like that's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
Because they've been working on the game for 5 years and there's 4 factions in the game.
You have to balance it. You gotta like. There's a lot of work. I like 4, actually. I like 4 right now. That I'm surprised it's 4. I thought it'd be something like 2 or 3. I think that's
I would like to see more if they could, but that's going to take time for them to add another faction to the game. So, yeah.
Just keep working on the foundation. Don't like those are what we call in the business nice to have. It's nice to have a fifth faction.
Not
you got
essential,
4.
not essential. Yeah.
But you know what could be essential is random map generating.
Yeah.
And what could be essential is like simultaneous search. That could be essential to keeping people playing.
I would
So
like to see
immediate.
like I mean, again, this also kind of falls in the nice to have category, but like I would like to see more campaigns or a longer campaign.
Oh, I'm sure they're working
like,
on that. That is something that has
Yeah.
to be worked on, like for a full release. But like outside of full release territory, I think implementing at least a random map generator might be interesting. At the very least.
That's the big one for me that I want, because that adds like potentially infinite replay value to the game.
I agree.
Because again, there's only like 10 maps in the game right now, so
you're somewhat limited, yeah. No, I think their approach is great. I don't think a roadmap is good for everything. Like, if you're like, in this case, they're selling an early access game, and they just made it and they're just putting it out there now. Like, having a roadmap day one, you'd probably like have to scrap it, because like, okay, well, we were wrong about like a handful of high priority items. Put it out there, wait like a month, see what people say. Or so.
They said that they did not anticipate this level of
interest.
Interest in multiplayer specifically. Like, they saw this game as primarily a single player game, because that's what like Heroes of Might and Magic generally was. Like, there was hot seat multiplayer where, you know, you could play on the same computer and like take turns that way.
Yep.
But like, they saw the game primarily as a single player game, and lo and behold, the game comes out and simultaneous turns multiplayer is the most requested new feature for the game.
One thing that'll never amaze me, it'll never cease to amaze me, is hearing that when people are like, "Oh, we kind of assumed it was this. We didn't think it was this." It happens. It happens in a lot of cases where you go into something like this. In this case, they're making a game. They have like their impressions of it. They probably showed it to some friends and things like that in like close circles. And you release it and you're like, oh wait, people want multiplayer? Well, Heroes of Might and Magic probably wasn't a multiplayer focused game. It was probably like single player, and they had that multiplayer side of it because it's like, oh yeah, we can put a little multiplayer in there. But like that game's pretty old, right? That's an pretty old game.
I think I don't think online multiplayer was like really even a thing when the Heroes of Might and Magic
it was probably like maybe
like,
LAN or something. Like, you do LAN stuff. Now access to multiplayer is so much better, so like things change. So like now the people that like that, you know, like Heroes of Might and Magic at that time, they're seeing this and going, oh yeah, this is cool, but I didn't have this when I played it before. And we're living in a time when that's like really easily available. So that's like that. I love that stuff, actually. I deal in that stuff all the time, day to day too, with like work. I never thought that was a desirable thing, but somebody wants it kind of feature. So I love hearing that. I love hearing that stuff. Where they're like, we thought it was a single player game, but people really want multiplayer. Yeah, this has some cool multiplayer implementations. There's some cool stuff you can do. Like, of course. So I love it. You gotta love that.
Yeah, and the devs have said that they've like the game has done better than they expected.
Oh, of course. I have to imagine. Yeah.
Like popularity and sales. I mean, and looking at Steam charts, like it's not that impressive, but it's a really small studio. Like they have a all-time peak 4,167, 24-hour peak 1,354.
That's fantastic.
582 playing 13 minutes ago.
I think that's amazing. You're an indie studio and your
first game ever made.
Early access is peaking at like 4K. Fantastic. That's like a really nice indicator of, okay, there's an audience for this, so do what you can, inject a little marketing. And the thing is, like, this is a developer, right? It's just the developer. Publisher's going to see that. So now they're going to get a publisher exposure. So it's fantastic. Just stay the course. Man, 4K peak is really good for a first game indie studio. That is really good.
Yeah, and the game has only been in early access for 2 weeks. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, that's like, and it doesn't feel like early access to me when I play it. As in, like, when I expect early access at this point, I expect, okay, I'm gonna get some bugs. You know, it's gonna be buggy. I haven't really encountered a bug yet. I know the campaigns are like, there's only 2 of them and they're short, but
I saw a few minor ones here and there in terms of
okay.
bugs, but nothing major. Like nothing big. The game has not crashed for me. It runs well. The mechanics are really solid. Yeah, the game is fun to play. I'm sure there's balance issues. You know, we talked about the magic system a little bit. Might be a little bit overpowered, and they need to look at that. But
other than that, like, that's great looking at. That's like a nice problem to have, where it's like one potential balance issue, minor bugs. Yeah, I hope this game does well. It's a good game. I like it.
It is a good game. It is a good game.
But 4K is great. 4K peak is great. I mean, just on their whiteboard, if you are an indie game studio right now, here's what I have to say. You need a whiteboard in your studio that said, at least we're not Babylon's Fall. Every single one needs that.
That was not an indie
game. Exactly. Everyone needs to put that on their whiteboard in their office as a pick-me-up every day. When things feel like they get tough, you look at it and you go, well, we're not Babylon's Fall though. So we're trucking along. Babylon's Fall is trying to think of a roadmap, which, by the way, is hysterical. There should only be a roadmap to when we make this a non-online only game. That's the only roadmap that should exist. But anyway, yeah, game's good. Boone, do you recommend it? I feel like we said it, but you recommend it?
Yeah. I highly recommend it, especially at the current price. And again, the developer seems committed to it. Again, does not seem like one of those games that's gonna be in early access forever and never get a full release, or they're just gonna like put it out in early access and then never touch it again, basically, just to kind of scam people. Does not seem like what these guys are doing. They're passionate and they are committed to this game, and they are happy with the community response they've gotten so far. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they add. Again, multiplayer is cool, but for me, random map generator is number one. I want that 100% for this game, because again, that makes it like Civ or Humankind or any other game like that, where it's literally infinitely replayable, because every time the map is going to be a little bit different.
Right. I'm with you. I agree. Recommend it. Give it a shot. It's $30. Pretty fun. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints about it. I really don't. I think the magic balance issue and like maybe a little bit extra curve to figuring certain things out, but like you kind of like, sometimes you just look over things. You go, yeah, whatever. Not a big deal.
One thing I did notice when you were playing, I didn't want to like backseat you too hard, but like in battle, the bards and the upgraded knights and some other units too, I think those are the only two that you have like a special ability that you can use.
I didn't even know.
So if you don't use their full movement, you can use their special ability. Like the bards give the base level bards give a like +5 defense buff to all of your units.
I had no idea.
Ability.
There's my complaint. Look, I'm an idiot. Devs, you gotta make it easier.
The tutorials aren't very good.
Yeah,
they're
make it easier.
They're just kind of like text boxes that pop up.
I'm not an in-depth, I'm gonna read the codex kind of person. A lot of times, if it's not readily obvious, I'm not gonna know it. Make it obvious.
You from what I've seen, like you tend to just kind of like do things and go with the flow.
Yep.
Like for me, when I like get a new thing, I like I look at all the stats. Like when I look at my buildings, I'm like gonna scroll through all of the buildings. I'm like, all right, what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? And I'm gonna figure out like what everything does.
Nope.
You just kind of like do things and see what happens,
No,
right?
I'm the perfect user. I'm the perfect user. I'm actually the perfect user because to me that's like a user for a different thing. I'm the perfect user for every website. I just touch things, and I probably piss off every developer too. They're probably like, I hate this guy because I'll just touch things with no context. I'll just touch it, and then I'll tell you, oh, what happened? I touched this thing. It did this, and they're like, no, you're supposed to do this, but that's the perfect user. They just touch things with no context on like a website and things like that, and then they tell you, oh no, I expected this result. Why did I get this result? That's the perfect user that you want when you're building stuff, because they're gonna do stuff that you never expect. And then you're like, oh, I guess I should have done it this way. There's also the analysis person. You're the analysis person. You go through
I'm
and
the analysis
you look
person.
through it, you analyze it. Nope, I just go, okay, let me just see everything. I just go right in. But I'm great for that. You need that too. You need the analysis person who like takes all the time in the world to look through everything and understand it. And then you need the person that's just like this. What about this? No, I'm going to do that. Because that person's also going to tell you something. I mean, I did that with you when I was doing my project for class.
Yeah, for sure.
I asked, like, what do you want to poke first? It's like, that's what you got to do. It's like, well, okay, I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to go through it and see what happens. I'm going to go through it with no context. I'm not going to look at any of these buildings. Be like, yeah, there's a lumber mill. I assume I get wood, whatever. Oh, but you need this to upgrade this. Oh, I guess I should have started that 2 turns ago. Oh well, whatever. I'll figure, if I fail, I'll do it again next time. It's a trial and error game.
Like in that second mission, like you captured the base and then you didn't build anything in it for like, I don't know, between 5 and 10 turns after you had captured it.
Absolutely.
I was sitting here just like, what are you doing? Why build something? Otto, what are you doing? Please?
No, I was having so much fun. I was having so much fun too. That's the best feeling. It's like, oh, and then I went back. I guess I should have done something.
One of the optional objectives, the like amber mine or whatever, you walked past it like 3 times before you freaking captured it. I was like, oh, no, what? Click the thing, dude, please, click the thing.
Nope.
Oh, it's so funny.
Nope, that's not how I do it. That's not how I do it. I'm a suboptimal player, but I have such a great time when things fall into place like this kind of game. Yeah, I have such a great time because you like when I have those problems in games like where like they ask you to do that, that's where I get frustrated. I get frustrated when games are like, "Oh, you should have analyzed it. You should have analyzed it." Because I don't analyze anything. I just go in, play it because that's like what I'm used to when I was younger. I'm used to just like, okay, well, I have it. I just do stuff. I don't like go through and like run the information in my head and go, oh, I should do this, like plan ahead. Nope. I just go out and try stuff and mess around suboptimally and like figure it out on the go.
Yep.
And that's my thing. And I have such a great time doing it when it's like easily accessible. Like this game is actually really easily accessible for that. I went past that mine like 3 times. Did it punish me? Not really. Not really.
No, like in that mission, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, which is great for for an intro thing. For intro,
maybe in mission 3, but especially in mission like if you don't play mission 4 well, you're probably gonna lose. Like yeah,
that's fine.
It's not that easy.
The first couple missions are supposed to be like
it's
trial and error, mess around. I expect the last one to be more like, okay, take it seriously. I hope you learned something. Yeah. And if I did it, I'm like, I don't care. Yeah. It's the stuff where it's like. Where there's like not much access,
and especially mission 4, like the enemy actually starts attacking you, and you have to like defend your bases when they like come and attack you. And you can't just like sit back and they don't let you sit back and just like explore the whole map before the enemy comes at you. Like the enemy's actually going to attack you. And like the first and the second mission, you can take as much time as you want. The enemy just sits back and wait for you to come to them.
Yeah, they just wait. Yeah. They're just like they're just an icon on the map at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I expect at some point to be like, don't they attack these buildings at some point? Like, why do I need a guard tower? Nobody's ever attacking me. What a waste. Yeah. But guard tower's there to stop that. I don't know. I just have such a great time doing
Yeah.
that. And I'm sure there are more than just you out there that are like, God, I hate this guy. Look at him just enjoying himself playing suboptimally. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't. That's why the Destiny crew didn't like me sometimes too, because I just do stuff. And they're like, don't you know this? I'm like, no. Should I? And they're like, oh, you don't know. What an idiot. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I just shoot the gun. Like, what do you want me to do? I just shoot the gun and use the super once in a while. That's all I do. What do you want me to do? Like, I like, oh, you should be using this thing. And did you know the lore of this? I'm like, no. Who's that? Who?
Yeah.
That's the best life for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do the analysis thing. Like, not gross understatement for using Skyburners, bro. Dude, Skyburners was great. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Skyburners was amazing. I use it as much as possible. What an amazing gun. This is the problem, is jealousy. I think part of it also too is jealousy. I think Vis is like, he shouldn't be having this much fun with this bad weapon, and yet I am. And I think part of it is jealousy. It's like, man, I wish I had so much fun doing this as like Otto. He's having way too much fun using these really bad things. Remember in Call of Duty when we made fun of like some guns and I used them and I like was kind of successful? But
you actually got good. You actually got good with them.
Because it's like, okay, well, this thing sucks, right? All right, let's see if it's useful. That's trial and error. You never know. There could be a use case for it. But then there's some things where there is none. You try it and there is none, and well, whatever.
There's no redeeming quality.
There's no reward. there's no reward at the end for this. But anyway, all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
but yeah, just to finish my point on the special abilities.
Sure.
When in unit that you have that has a special ability in combat, there's like a little icon like on the unit, like next to their name, I think. Like,
never would have seen that.
There's an icon there that you can click, or you could just press Q to activate their special ability.
Yeah, I never would have seen that.
The bards are like not. I mean, they do okay damage, but like they're not very good if you don't use their ability.
Sure. Yeah. No, imagine like being a seasoned pro watching that. Imagine that. Ah, man, I'd hate it. I don't feel that way too when I watch other people stream games that like I am good at. There's like maybe one or two. I don't ever feel that way too. Like, I just enjoy it. They're like, oh, I wouldn't have done that, but I think that's like not the best play. But okay, I'm seeing a clown fiesta. I'm liking it. I'm liking what's going on.
I have learned that like when I watch you, most of the time I just have to let you do your thing.
Absolutely.
Like I popped in and gave like a few tips like with those options that I told you to turn on. I was like, perfect. Hey, you can like turn this shit on, makes the game just a lot. Hold Alt to see shit. That is cool. Yeah. And after that, I'm just gonna sit here and like clench my fists as you play.
You need one of those like anger management things. Like there's like
the stress ball.
I'm sure Vis already had one of those. Vis probably had one of those already. But the thing is, there's redeeming qualities of that. For example, in HOTS, you can bet I was doing the trial and error strat all the time. And whenever it worked, though, it was great. In HOTS, it's great doing trial and error on dumb stuff and dumb builds and having it work and just laughing about it.
Yeah, but you were, I don't know, like, you like to have fun with HOTS, but like you also had serious mode in HOTS sometimes too. Like, you were really good at HOTS, like when you were really good at HOTS even when you played like meme builds all the time.
Yeah, because the meme builds are fun. Yeah. The meme stuff is fun. Like just doing trial and error and like stuff that just shouldn't work. Like Stitch's Zoom build. That shouldn't work. That just shouldn't work.
I mean, or you just like dump on people. Like everyone's like, yeah, Rexar's like the worst hero in the game. You just dump on people with Rexar.
Rexar's beautiful. What a beautiful hero. I miss Rexar. I miss playing as Rexar. He is great. What a great hero. Using the bear as a body blocker, freaking awesome. Oh man, there's some awesome stuff to do in that. But like that's just how I play. It works for me. Is it the best way to play? No, it's not. From experience, it's not.
But for most of us, we play games to have fun.
Exactly. It's like that's my way.
Unless you're playing super competitively, it shouldn't matter.
Oh no,
as long as they're having fun, then.
If this was competitive, I'd be like watching videos and like trying to watch streamers and like seeing like stuff and trying to like pick up on things. Like if I was serious about here, like Songs of Conquest, I'd be probably watching videos and streams, and like maybe talking to you about it too on the side. But like that's not really what I want out of this game.
No.
Like if I ever got to that point, like with HOTS, I was watching stuff all the time, and like I read the patch notes. That's the only game I read the patch notes on. So, like, but with Destiny, all I remember is when Destiny had their like weekend review or something. I was kind of making fun of it. Yeah, Vis wasn't having it. I was like making fun of it the whole time because he wanted every single thing in it, and I was like skipping stuff. I was like, that didn't seem important. Skip it. That's like the Destiny version of patch notes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like skipping shit and saying like, yeah, that's not important. We can skip it. So like, yeah, HOTS, I was serious. So I wanted to know the patch notes. Like I wanted to know that stuff. And like with this game, probably not, but it's great. Even without doing that, it's like, this is so fun. I'm sure if I stumble and fail like 10 times in a row, I'm sure it would still be enjoyable no matter what.
Yeah, we can again, if you want, we can try and find a time to do a multiplayer co-op if you.
We should actually try. We should try. Just tell me like when things are best for you, because like I just work from. I mean, outside of like, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go into it during podcast.
I still try to get most of my work done during the day as well. So usually in the evening.
Okay.
I'm free.
Yeah, just let me know. I'd love to do that. That'd be fun. Hopefully, one other person tries this too. Maybe I can rope one other weeb into this.
I was talking when it came out. I was talking to Ghost a bit about it a bit, and he seemed like.
He might. I think he might be.
He generally like doesn't play a lot of these strategy games, even though I think he would like them and be good at them. But he's never sort of like accepted the learning curve of getting into them, I guess. But,
I see. Just tell him to play like I play. It's easy clap.
Yeah,
just do stuff.
Come on, give me a break. He's never gonna play that way.
Just do things. just do stuff. Just do that. I wish more people would do that.
The mathematician is gonna just go around and poke things. Yeah. Okay.
I think most people in our online groups and stuff do probably more what you do. I'm like one of the only ones that doesn't do that ever. Well, yeah. I think it's probably just me now that I'm thinking about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody else that's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it live. We're just gonna do it live. I wish more people would do it the way I do it, so we could laugh about how stupid it is. But yeah, let me know. For me, it's evenings. Depending on if I like, if like things work out, like, or if I'm not like going or doing something with Kate. Yeah. Weekends are also good. I can always skip a rando on a weekend, and we're not doing D&D obviously, to play something in like the afternoon. I only say afternoon because like. Evenings I try to leave open for like sports stuff and obviously D&D. But yeah. Anyway, do we have any other stuff? Otherwise we can kind of close down. Okay.
Wind it down.
Okay, let's wind it down here. Let's close. Thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate it. Thanks Vis for only saying something when I'm like making memes about Destiny. Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. He comes in here and he's like, growth understatement, Skyburn Earth. What an idiot. He's jealous. He's so jealous of me. It's crazy. And yeah, Spoon, thanks as always for hopping on here and having a chat. Yeah. And thanks again for Songs of Conquest recommendation. That's always a good. That was a good one. That was a really good one. Not to say some of your other ones weren't or anything like that. Just saying that was a good one.
No, yeah, this one it kind of like it took me by surprise. Like it came out, I heard about it a little bit, and then I like watched a couple of YouTube videos on it. I was like, yeah, this looks pretty cool. It's only $30. I think I'm gonna pick it up and tried it. And I tried it. I was like, yeah, this is pretty awesome. I like this quite a lot.
Yeah,
this is good.
No, I'm 100% with you. I do like this one a lot. But yeah, we'll have a video from this podcast at some point. Come check out Saturday afternoon where I absolutely burn Vis in a rando race of Pokemon. Just gonna leave him in the dust.
Vis?
Yeah, Vis is gonna play in a rando with Kuru and I.
Vis
yeah,
and Kuru.
Every week he comes in during the rando. He's like, Kuru, go Kuru! Can't wait for him to win. And does Kuru win most of the time? Yes, but I remember this. I hope I just burn Vis in the dust and then he'll stay quiet for like maybe a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll send him a video of Ram Ranch after that too. I'll send him the Ram Ranch song.
You're doing black and white, yeah?
Yeah, we're doing black and white. I can't wait. I don't remember much about the game again, but I can't wait. It's always fun. Kuru and I don't play how we probably should with those races. We're like telling each other what to do. Like, no, we got to go talk to this person. But eventually he ends up winning.
It's casual.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks everybody. See you guys.
Night.